It's the Joseph Bristol Show.
If you enjoy the video, hit the like. If you want to see more, be sure to subscribe.
Welcome to another episode of the Joseph Bristol Show. I go over different social aspects of our world, of our life, and I share my thoughts and my ideas on, how we could change them or how they could be better, or like the meaning behind different things and stuff like that with you, the internet. So we could find people who feel and think like us, and we could just make the world a better place by changing one person at a time. All right. And on today's episode, I want to talk about the burden. Oh, let me zoom in on here. Boom. Right. Oh, that's a little bit too close now. Right. But the burden of intelligence. That's what I want to talk about. And there's a saying that I always say to like my cousin whenever I'm talking to her, or just people in general when I'm talking to people. And I always try to keep this in my mind when I'm talking to people, when I'm discussing people. And I also learned it from one of the greatest books that I've ever read in my entire life, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And he talks about this. He also talks about this. And Benjamin Franklin understood it, and Abraham Lincoln and a couple other people. But let's listen to the voice note first. Where is it? Pros and cons, understanding yourself, telling partner. Yo, I should delete the voice notes that I already made episodes to. I'm gonna have to do that. Being smart. This is it.
I think it's crazy how in America we're living in a world where people don't read. More and more I'm watching these news stories and these studies about how Americans read below a 5th grade level, how Americans don't read at all, how Americans lack the ability to comprehend what they're reading. And it puts fear in my heart. I always tell my cousin, I always tell people that the burden of being intelligent is the ignorance of others. The worst part about being a smart person is that other people around you are fucking stupid. Not only are they stupid, but they think that they're not. So they don't even know that they're stupid. They think that they're smart. And in reality, they are dumb. Because a smart person knows that they are not as smart as they think that they are. And so they keep learning, they keep educating themselves so that they can achieve the level of intelligence that they think that they have. And the lack of reading is such a power. Oh, man. People are dumb. And so, like, with my kids, I make them read a book. Like, they have to turn in book reports, so they're forced to read. But I fear for them because they're going to grow up in a world where people are stupid and they're the smart ones. Can you imagine what it was like being the person that's like 2 + 2 is 4, and other people are like, no, it's not. 2 + 2 is 22. Look at the two twos. 2 together makes 22. And you're like, no. People were murdered for being intelligent. They thought it was witchcraft. We're going backwards as a society.
Yeah. So you can literally look it up. Like, seriously, people were murdered for being smart. One of the things that I learned about the Salem witch trials was they were murdering women because they understood how herbs healed people. Like, just because this lady understood that mint and this other thing mushed together would heal your wound faster than like spitting on it and just leaving it alone, they would go and murder this lady and say, oh, she's a witch. My son's leg was broke and she fixed it in 1 week. Witchcraft. And it's like, no, the lady has an understanding of the world. Like, people who understood solar eclipse would say the sun is going to black out at this time because of the way that the moon and the earth are aligned. And people would say, witchcraft. What kind of sorcery is that? This person is murder! And they kill people for these things. And I just think about that. Make sure I put up the how Americans lack reading. Link that video in the description. There's literally like a couple videos you can watch on YouTube about how people don't read anymore. People aren't finishing books. People aren't reading books anymore. It's bad enough most people don't even read signs. So you might say to yourself, well, I read all the time. I'm reading the stop sign. I'm reading, you might get a text message. You read emails. You read, just little things on a daily basis that you read. Closed captioning when you're watching a show. Like little petty type of reading. But no. Even a sign that says push. When you go to the store, the sign literally says push. You'll see people pulling on the door. And then they're like, this door won't open. The sign literally says push. Did you read the sign? People will go to the store and they're like, why is the door locked? And the sign literally says closed for the day. People don't read. So we're living in a world of Idiocracy, which is a movie that I think is totally funny, because one of the dumbest peoples on the planet becomes one of the smartest people on the planet, and it's like that's just like crazy. You should watch that movie. But I always think to myself, I always tell people, the burden of intelligence is the ignorance of others. Other people are dumb, and you will be around those other people, and that is going to stress you out. Imagine in the world when the people were saying the earth is round. And people literally was like, no, the planet is flat. The planet is flat. Even today you have flat earthers. You have people that believe the planet is flat. Yo, son, I was at work the other day talking to somebody about climate change. I'm like, yo, look at the planet. It's wildfires everywhere. We're in winter and it's hot. It's hot in winter. Like, natural disasters are becoming abundant, outrageous. Things are getting crazy. And the man turned to me and said, global warming is not real. That's just the natural way that the planet works. Then he turned to me and said, and it's the government. The government has a weather machine and they're the ones that's doing this. The global warming ain't real. And I'm like, bro, okay, yes, the United States government does in fact have a weather machine. It's called HARPA, right? And yes, there are cloud seeding. So we do in fact induce rain, but we need to do that because of the climate change. There are droughts all over the planet, and we kind of need the water to make the food that all of us eat, right? And like clean water that we drink is not an infinite amount. Then he had the nerve to say that to me. He said there is an infinite amount of clean water on the planet. No, there isn't. That's not true. And if you just read a book and read science articles and listen to the experts, because again, people go to school for this. People go to school for years. You're talking 10 years. Someone has dedicated their life to studying how the water cycle works. And you, as a person who works at an Amazon warehouse, who delivers packages, you as a guy who's an Uber driver, you as a guy who works at McDonald's, you're going to tell me that you understand more about the planet, more about science, more about the water cycle than someone who went to school for 10 years to study this? Someone who has dedicated their life to understanding this? That sounds stupid. You sound stupid. So I fear for the world that my children will inhabit. I fear for myself. That's why I make these videos, man. That's why I make these videos, so I could talk to people all over the world. I could find people who feel and think like me, who understand the seriousness of life, of what we're doing here on this planet. Then the man gonna tell me that science is a religion because of Scientology. Sir, science was made long before Scientology. Science is the understanding of God. Science is the understanding of our universe, of what we are doing here. How did we come to be? What are we doing? Science and philosophy and religion are essentially all wrapped up into one. They are all together as one. Science is the understanding of God. Because the whole point of science is trying to understand the universe, trying to understand ourselves. What are we made of? What is the planet made of? How did all of this come to be? But the number one advice I want to leave you people with is, if you think you're smart, if you believe that you're smart, because I tell myself this every day. 1, Joseph, you can be wrong, and it's okay to be wrong. 2, Joseph, you're not as smart as you think you are. You're actually pretty dumb, and that's okay. If you want to be smarter, you need to educate yourself. You need to go and talk to people that understand the thing that you want to understand. You need to read more books. And 3, you're not as good or smart as you think you are until you are as smart and as good as you think you are. But you will never be as smart and as good as you think you are, because you understand that you can be smarter and better than what you are. Replay that, what I just said, a couple times until you understand what I'm saying. But the greatest example that I could give you of what I just said is Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was one of the greatest basketball players to ever live. And every day he was in the gym. He practiced. He worked hard. You can literally watch documentaries about him. Because this man understood that I'm not as good as I think I am. Not only am I not as good as I think I am, I can be better than what I think I am. I need to be better. I need to be better than every single other person that's out here. So he just worked harder and harder and harder, and he never stopped. That's how knowledge works. That's how education works. That's how being smart works. You understand that you're not as smart as you think you are, and you can in fact be smarter. And so you just educate yourself, and you're not above learning from other people, and you don't correct other people. That's the part from How to Win Friends and Influence People that I wanted to touch on. Don't correct other people. So if I hear people talking and I know that what they're saying is wrong and it's not true and it's dumb, I don't jump in. Actually, you're wrong about that. The square root is. I don't do that. You're gonna lose friends. People don't like to feel stupid. People don't like that. They don't like to feel stupid. So don't do that. If someone is wrong, that's okay. They didn't ask you for your opinion. They didn't ask you to correct them. Now, if they ask you, now you can say something of the nature of, well, to my understanding, it's probably blah, blah, blah. Or I could be wrong, but I think blah, blah, blah. Or I got to look into what you're saying because I'm not really sure that what you're saying is correct because of blah, blah, blah. But to just come out and tell someone, oh, you're dumb, you're wrong. Don't. Let me write it big and bold. Don't. You're wrong. You're dumb. That's stupid. I'm right. Oh, I put I'm right like it's right like that. That's it. See? Again, you're not as smart as you think you are. I'm right. Don't do these things. Don't say these things. Don't do these things, bro. It's okay. Leave people alone, man. Leave them alone, man. If they ask you, then you can correct them. If they don't, man, leave them people alone, man. Let them people be wrong, man. Don't do these things, bro. You're going to lose friends. You're going to lose family. You're going to isolate yourself. And it's sad and it's scary and it's lonely being alone. You don't have to be alone. You don't have to be alone. With that being said, thanks for watching another episode of the Joseph Bristol Show. And let's all remember, man, we all out here trying to do the same thing. Survive and be happy. Y'all stay blessed.